Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to the community members who took their time to speak to us through our community meeting. We are now entering our legislative meeting, and I want to thank all of you for participating in this virtual format. Before I ask Dr. Herring to provide her official remarks, I wanted to share a few announcements of my own. First, I want to welcome our staff and teachers back to Atlanta Public Schools. Today marked the first official working day for many of them to return to begin planning for a different, unfamiliar kind of school year. As everyone knows by now, APS is preparing to open in a virtual model, which will require our teachers, our staff, our students, our families, and our community to teach, learn, and engage in school in ways that we are not necessarily used to. Our district has created a new narrative for itself as one that faces adversity, tackles big challenges, and strives for achievement. We should not change that narrative, nor veer at all from the APS mission to graduate every child ready for college, career, and life. We welcome the coming of the new school year, and we look forward to seeing our students again, because we know that they love to learn, and we know our teachers love to inspire. We all want our students and teachers to be back in our school buildings, but do know that they will be in school on Monday, August 24th. This board is excited about the new school year, and I know that Dr. Herring and her team are working hard to make sure the school year 2020 through 2021 is a successful one. But I also would be remiss if I didn't encourage our community to do what is necessary to ensure that we can ultimately move from a virtual format to a face-to-face format, which means that you are socially distancing, means that you are wearing masks, and means, wait, oh boy. Social distance, wear masks, and who wants to help me? Wash hands, wash hands. So make sure you're doing that, because at the end of the day, what determines whether we get in our schools is whether our local community and ultimately our country has taken control of the viral spread. And at this point, we're not there yet. We're actually a long way from being there. But together, we can do this and make sure that all of our students get back into their classrooms. I also would like to announce that I am making an appointment to the Forest Hills Academy Naming Committee. As many of you know, the Board of Education is engaged in reviewing the names of school buildings to ensure that our schools are named after people who capture the values and reflects the diversity and the ambitions of our students, their families. And we currently have naming committees for Grady High School, which is led by Leslie Grant, and Joseph E. Brown Middle School, which is led by Retta Balden. I will now be naming the Forest Hills Academy renaming committee, which will be led by Ishay Collins. And for those who don't know, Forest Hills is named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, who has a history with the Civil War, having been a general in the Civil War, but also is known as one of the first Grand Wizards of the Ku Klux Klan. In naming the committee, Ishay Collins will serve as the chair. Joyce Shepard will serve as the Atlanta City Council member. Ann Phillips will be the MPUZ representative. Antonio Perryman will be the student representative. Doriez Higgins will be the parent representative. And Kendra Lattimore is a partner to Forest Hills Academy through her work at the Fulton County Juvenile Court. With that, they will take a look at that name and bring a recommendation to the board in the next couple of months. With that, I'd like to throw it over to our superintendent, Dr. Lisa Herring.
So thank you, Chair Estevez. We are grateful not only for your thoughtful words, but also for this board's ongoing support and understanding as we move through what we know are uncertain times, unfamiliar territory, but always with a focus on our mission to graduate every student ready for college, career, and life. I am especially grateful for you and the board in your ongoing support of us making decisions on how we educate and empower our students through these very unprecedented times. For that, we are grateful. As my colleagues return to work for a new and different school year, I can attest, especially having interacted with hundreds and hundreds of them through the recent new employee orientation virtually last week, through virtual staff town halls and also virtual fireside chats and other forums that they come back to school with energy, patience, and grace. They have moved my heart many times recently because despite these circumstances, their intent and their determination is exceptionally strong to make certain our students see success. I also see our colleagues supporting one another in these endeavors, be it virtually or otherwise. I am confident that while our students might not be at school for the next 9 weeks or so, they will certainly, as you said, Chair Estevez, be in school with quality teaching and learning. That is our goal, that is our commitment, and we will work diligently in making certain of that. As you can tell from our work session today, my colleagues and I are hard at work. I'd like to take a moment to recap items from our work session and to recap those 3 work session presentations. We started with Dr. Katika Lovett, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services, who provided an overview and recommendations for our LGBTQIA+ task force. Next, Lisa Bracken, our Chief Financial Officer, provided the monthly financial update, which included information about the millage process, our cash flow, the tax anticipation note or TAN, quarterly student activity reports, and budget adjustments. Also, Ms. Bracken explained, we propose to maintain the millage rate at 20.740. As required, the district will hold public hearings at 10 a.m. and again at 6 p.m. on Monday, August 10th, and again at 6 p.m. on Monday, August 17th. After the third public hearing, we will be asking the board to adopt the millage rate during a special called meeting. Because tax receipts start to come into the district well after the start of school, we will once again look to secure a tax anticipation note or TAN to cover expenses for the first few months of the new school year. Ms. Bracken provided 2 scenarios earlier, one for up to 75 million and another for about 45 million, both which would be due for full payment by the end of the year. Additionally, Ms. Bracken noted most of what the district planned for our compensation strategies for the 2020 through 2021 school year and was put on hold due to the budget. But we are proposing in item 9.01 of our agenda to fund one particular strategy, that the minimum wage for full-time APS employees be raised from $12.70 an hour per hour to $15 per hour. If approved, this raise would affect employees on pay grades 111 to 115, which includes the following positions: paraprofessionals, clerks, food assistants, custodians, school bus monitors, ISS monitors, non-instructional aides, and parent liaisons. I do hope that in the future, we are able to bring back the rest of the great strategies that our human resources team developed with teachers and staff, such as teacher pay raises, stipends for high need schools and subject areas, and converting the remaining hourly special education paraprofessionals to full-time with benefits. In our final presentation, I provided updates on our return to school this month. Regarding the back to school update, working with the best team in public education today, the Atlanta Public Schools education team, I believe this administration will rise to the challenges of reopening our schools with quality teaching and learning amid such difficult and uncertain times. Let me continue to stress that the health and wellness of our students and staff in Atlanta Public Schools has been and will remain our top priority amid this pandemic. Every decision we make is being made through the lens of public health and based on the scientific data related to our local community. In Atlanta, the data is still showing an upward trend in the trajectory of new COVID-19 cases. Atlanta is in substantial spread of COVID-19, which demands and still demands that we take the utmost of caution and do what's best for our students and our community. That's why we are starting an in-person return to our schools this fall to August 24th, and to reopen virtually. Later in this meeting, the board will vote on that calendar change. With this new calendar, we plan to remain virtual for at least the first 9-week grading period until we can move to a hybrid model or face-to-face. We have a monthly schedule in which we review the health conditions and inform our families and the APS community about our plans for the remaining parts of the 2021 school year. In the meantime, we've also created a runway for our return to learning. And that runway comes in 3 stages. The first, our staff actually returned to work today to begin 2 weeks of pre-planning, which will be mostly virtual, but may require some in-person work in small or limited groups. To those who have returned, we welcome you. And although virtual, do know you are valued and supported. During this period, APS will be focused on planning for the virtual model. We will connect with families, build teams, encourage teacher planning and professional development, and plan for safety and for the entire year. Our second stage, our runway week. During the second stage, the most critical part of our runway, we begin to fully engage with our families. We believe that that is the most critical part. This will also be mostly virtual, but we may engage with our families, again in small groups and with social distancing procedures, in some face-to-face capacities, but with the practice of social distancing, to ensure they have school supplies and essential technology devices for the first 9-week period. During this period, APS will be focused on student wellness and preparation. We will assess student learning, support the social emotional learning needs of our students, conduct health and wellness checks, and distribute student supplies and technology, and gather emergency contact information. Again, we've identified that window between August 17th through the 21st, and if possible, some schools may start a bit earlier. I really want to stress the last one, gathering emergency contact information. We need our parents to provide the most current emergency contact information before day 1. This is critical to engage with them, provide the most current updates, and to ensure that they have the technology and supplies to not only survive, but succeed this school year. As part of the engagement, the Atlanta Public Schools Back to School Bash has become an Atlanta tradition at this time of the year, when we would usually fill the Georgia World Congress Center with eager students and their families. The pandemic prevents an event of the scale of years past. However, we want families to know that that will not keep us from distributing the backpacks and school supplies that our students will need to thrive in an at-home environment. And that includes the distribution of technology. So this year, instead of giving them out at a central location, we will distribute backpacks and school supplies to schools for distribution during our runway week. Again, that's the week of August 17th. You'll be hearing about how you can get your backpack soon. In the meantime, we're asking families to sign up for a backpack at www.emptystockingfund.org/APS backpack-request-2020 /. We'll continue to make that link available. We will still be bringing the fun and excitement of the bash, but just in a virtual model. We will have digital experiences to get everyone hyped up for school year 20-21. And these digital experiences will start with you planning your trip all the way through takeoff for school through a series of events. And we invite everyone to stay tuned for more information. And then our third stage. For the third and final stage, we enter the school year. Again, day one for APS students is Monday, August 24th. We will continue virtual learning for 9 weeks or until Atlanta has entered minimal or moderate spread. During this period, we will remain focused on student learning and a strong start. And as a reminder, during the start of school, during this time, students will engage with the curriculum. We will continue student assessments. Teachers will conduct get to know you activities and other engagement activities. And we will set and adhere learning expectations. We know that these are unique times. It is important to communicate that we recognize virtual may be new. For some, it may be easy. For some, it may be challenging, and we're prepared to support. Virtual is not a bad 7-letter word. Just because we will be amid virtual learning does not mean that quality teaching and learning will be absent. In fact, it will be the forefront in everything we do. We expect to have a successful school year, and we will work to ensure just that. We appreciate your patience during that process, but we also want to grow your anticipation. Our goal, to consistently provide the most fulfilling educational experience for every student in our district while participating in interactive virtual instruction. And to that end, we've prepared sample schedules and expectations for each grade level. We presented these sample schedules during town halls we held with staff and our community last week. But just for an example, they generally follow these guidelines. For pre-K, 2.5 hours of virtual instruction with 60 minutes of outdoor play, 60 minutes of center and free play, and 15 to 30 minutes of Imagine Learning. Grades K through 2, 4 hours of interactive virtual instruction with 40 minutes of independent practice and assignments. And we should assume that there are times for breaks in each of these scenarios. Grades 3 through 5, 5 hours of interactive virtual instruction with 40 minutes of independent practice and assignments. In grades 6 through 8, 5 hours of interactive virtual instruction with 60 minutes of independent practice and assignments. And again, breaks should be assumed in these scenarios. And finally, grades 9 through 12, 5 hours of interactive virtual instruction with 90 minutes of independent practice and assignments. Again, for clarity, those are not consecutive hours without a break. We recognize, I recognize, and we feel the importance of breaks. Teachers and staff and others will help to accommodate that and also work with modeling for families on how to engage. Relative to school nutrition, throughout all of these efforts, we remain committed to feed our families through our nutrition network. We mentioned earlier, as part of the summer seamless option waiver granted by the federal government, meals will be provided to all children in the Atlanta Public Schools community on Monday, August 10th and on Monday, August 17th. 5-day meal bags with 5 breakfast meals and 5 lunch meals will be distributed at 12 distribution sites, which you can find at www.atlantapublicschools.us/nutrition. That is the district's website. Our families can get those meals by way of walk-up or drive-through. We shared sites earlier, or bus delivery of food will also be provided on some middle school bus routes, and we will share those bus routes with you very soon. Additionally, we mentioned how to order meals. So starting August 24th, the first day of school, APS meals will only be distributed to APS students. All APS families must pre-order meals for each week through the My School Bucks online pre-order system. And you can find My School Bucks at the nutrition website at www.atlantapublicschools.us/nutrition, again, the district's website, and click on the prepayment button. In addition, if you've downloaded the Atlanta Public Schools app, you can also have the opportunity to utilize My School Bucks through the app. These orders must be placed no later than 1 week before distribution. And I want to continue to emphasize that our schools are working with us to help get this information out to our families in as many ways as we possibly can. As I wrap up, I know that it has been difficult to prepare again for school and in a virtual capacity. In APS, we are doing everything we can to restore as many of the traditional methods as possible. But understand that this pandemic has taught us that we must embrace many new techniques and approaches to create 21st century learning environments. I want to thank our APS community for continued patience as we move forward into unprecedented times. Please know that we will always keep our students first, and we will continue to make their safety and health, as well as that of our staff, a top priority. We have another community town hall scheduled for 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 4th, on the district's Facebook Live page. And for those who might have additional questions around our meals, we will be specifically talking about that and displaying what that will look like for families who will take advantage of our meals. To our students, families, staff, and community members, I want to invite you to please continue to take care of yourselves and your families this summer. Stay healthy and please be well. Chair Estevez mentioned it earlier. I will be intentionally redundant. We can all play a part in helping to disrupt the trend of additional new COVID cases by practicing social distancing, by wearing masks, and by washing hands and sanitizing. If we are all indeed in this together, let's all be a part of the solution. Mr. Chair, that concludes my remarks for this evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Herring. If you can please present the consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair Estevez. Before I submit the consent agenda, I want to direct your attention to several of the items. Excuse me. As I mentioned earlier, for us to move forward with our reopening plans for Atlanta Public Schools, we need the board to approve a change to the student calendar that not only moves the first day of school for our students, but also changes the number of instructional days for the school year as allowed through our charter with the state. With item 5.03, we asked the board to approve moving this first day to Monday, August 24th, and changing the number of instructional days for the 2020 through 2021 school year from 180 to 170. At this time, we are not asking for any changes to breaks or professional learning days. With respect to the coronavirus and adherence to social distancing, we are also asking the board in item 5.08 to change the student dress code requirements to require students wearing masks during this period of pandemic. And I want to mention that although we are asking for the adjustment to the school calendar from 180 to 170, we recognize that the pandemic has made an impact on student learning, and we know that we will need to do assessments. We invite the board to anticipate additional conversation and feedback over the course of this semester around what the continuation of the 2021 second half of the school year, starting in January, will look like and what we might need. I also want to direct your attention to item 7.09 regarding the lease of student computer devices. Our information technology department is requesting to lease Apple iPads for pre-K through second grade students and HP Chromebooks for grades 3 through 12. This lease will provide for one-to-one devices for approximately 40,000 students. This would make Atlanta Public Schools fully one-to-one. The lease period will be for 5 years. but the contract as established by the Georgia Department of Administrative Services allows for the return of these devices at any time during the lease period. We estimate that this contract will cost about $24.6 million over the 5-year time period. But we are excited that this positions Atlanta Public Schools to be fully one-to-one. And we recognize that there's more to one-to-one than just devices, but we're encouraged around this effort for our students and technology. And then finally, please notice items 8.06 and 8.07, which ask for the approval of construction management contracts for Barack and Michelle Obama Academy and West Manor Elementary. The district had put these on hold for a few months because of issues around COVID-19, but we are confident we can move forward. For the renovations and additions project at Barack and Michelle Obama Academy, we asked the board to accept a proposal from Parish Construction Group to complete the work at a price not to exceed $11 million. And for the renovations and additions project at West Manor, we asked the board to accept a proposal from Balfour Beatty Construction to complete the work at a price not to exceed $11 million as well. And finally, I want to direct the board to item 6.01, Human Resources Personnel Action Report, where I am asking for your approval on several key leadership structural changes within my administration, as well as 2 new hires. First, I am asking for 4 previous positions to be reinstated: Chief of Schools, Chief Academic Officer, Chief of Staff, and Senior Administrative Manager. Then, to fully support our additional focus in equity as part of the mission and the district's 5-year strategic plan, I am also asking for the creation of the position of Chief Equity and Social Justice Officer for Atlanta Public Schools. I believe we need to have a senior leader and division strongly focused on this topic if we are going to see real movement toward a more equitable system of education in Atlanta. I believe, and trust that we all do believe, that not only is this the right position for Atlanta Public Schools, it's the right time. As this board knows well, and many in our community as well, Atlanta stands as the most unequal city in our nation, particularly when it comes to income inequality. That is closely associated with the academic achievement gap, where white students are nearly 4.5 grade levels ahead of their Black peers within Atlanta Public Schools. This board, our board, with its new strategic plan and an updated mission, has renewed the district's commitment to address equity. But it's not just equity, which is why this position also includes social justice. I said this early on, and I will reiterate. As we sit in both a season of pandemic and a season of protest, we have not only seen more cracks in the academic foundation caused by inequities, we have heard the cries of social justice. In my short time back home here in Atlanta, I have heard from teachers, I have heard from students who have broken my heart about their experiences and the disparities in their treatment. Board members, we live in a city that has been a home to giants and a king. This year, we lost 3 of them: Congressman Lewis, the Reverend Lowry, and the Reverend Vivian. In their memories, we must do the work now. They not only gave us a blueprint for change, they gave us a charge. We must not let this opportunity pass. This position, Chief Equity and Social Justice Officer, is but one step to secure both equity and social justice in our schools. And I also would like for you to note that the position of Chief Equity and Social Justice Officer is being supported in partnership with the Annie E. Casey Foundation as a part of their longstanding work to promote anti-racist agendas, equity, and inclusion. The organizational structures to support these leadership roles will be built out with the utmost concern for fiscal responsibility and with a focus on the need for equity and social justice practices in teaching and learning and district operations. Job descriptions for all of these positions have been posted to the Human Resources compensation page. If approved, the positions of Chief Equity and Social Justice Officer and Chief Academic Officer will be posted and a national search will be conducted. The Senior Administrative Manager role will also be posted. We hope to post all positions tomorrow. And then finally, within the Personnel Action Report, I am asking the board to approve the appointment of 2 individuals for the other positions. Gerard Bishop as Chief of Staff and Anita Williams as Chief of Schools. Both Mr. Bishop and Ms. Williams worked with me previously in my last district and would bring to Atlanta Public Schools unique, effective sets of education, skills, and experiences that would prove to be of great value to our students, teachers, staff, and schools. Pending your approval, both would start soon, this week, tomorrow. Again, I believe these changes and hires will significantly bolster and focus the work of the administration on the district's new strategic plan, particularly with its focus on equity and on our mission to graduate more and more students ready for college, career, and life. Thank you for the time to express all of this information, Chair Estevez and members of the board. I am pleased to submit consent agenda items 5.01 through 8.01 for the board for approval.
Thank you so much. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved by Leslie Grant, seconded by Erica Mitchell. Is there discussion? Cynthia?
I don't want to be difficult, but why is it only through 8.01? We were asked to consent to 5.01 through 8.01. And there are at least through 8.07.
It can just be modified.
I just want to make sure we
So
get
Leslie,
everything consented to that we need to.
Do I need to
yeah,
read?
thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you.
So Leslie, if you can amend, if you would agree to amend your motion.
I agree to amend the motion to include through 8.07, yes.
Thank you. And Erica, would you like to second again?
Yes, I would like to second again.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Leslie?
I just want to take a pause and say thank you, Dr. Herring. This is a major step, and I appreciate the reasons you have brought this forward and how you have made this about everything it needs to be, and just this position specifically with the diversity and social justice position. I just want to take a moment and enjoy this, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and open the vote.
The vote is open.
It's not letting me.
Wow, you can see the magic happening right now. I'm not used to seeing that.
Board Member Meister, would you like for me to place your vote for you?
Yeah, please, yeah, it's just not letting me click on it.
The vote is closed.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to piggyback off of Leslie. I know, Dr. Herring, you have you probably have some things you want to say as well, but I did want to piggyback off Leslie and really just pause for a minute to celebrate what we've done and considered so far in this meeting, because I think it's one of the more consequential meetings we've had in a long time, not just because of the equity position, which is huge, because we're talking about someone who will be focused on equity and social justice in the school system and work across the board to make sure that equity is top of mind with everyone. But let's also consider this. In today's meeting, amongst other things, because we're doing a lot today, but just we're adding a chief equity and social justice officer. We are increasing full-time staff member rates to a livable wage to $15. We are highlighting and committing to support our LGBTQIA+ students, something that school districts don't do
That's right.
very often. And we are going to a one-to-one technology, which again is not something that's common. That is unique for us to be going to one-to-one technology. Not during the pandemic, not for right now, but for the future. Every student will have technology at their fingertips. And I just want to make sure that by highlighting those 4 things, amongst other actions that we've taken tonight, we've taken a big step forward as it relates to equity, as it relates to social and economic justice, and as it relates to our work towards advancing the lives of children. Dr. Herring?
So thank you, Chair Estevez. And I just want to emphasize an appreciation for the work that lies ahead and the support of the board for us to put in place the structure and the people to help us get there. And I would be out of order if I didn't acknowledge a couple of things. I am grateful for the transition time that has taken place from the moment of having been identified as sole finalist to the swearing in until now. And I'm very cognizant of several things that I want those who are listening to hear. As you've shared, Chair Estevez, this vote, these actions are significant and monumental and should not be minimized. And I also at the same time want to thank the colleagues who have been a part of helping to get us to this place. In addition to that, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the team that is in place working with me and with us for our children and for our schools and for our staff to do all that we can to get this work right. And then I am incredibly encouraged around what lies ahead as we do this national search for a chief equity and social justice officer. A few districts across the country have a chief equity officer. I'm not convinced that there is a chief equity and social justice officer that exists. And I am proud of our work to be able to lead this effort for not only what must happen in public education, but what has to happen for us in our world. I want to thank the board for approving the changes to our leadership structure, and especially for the hires of the chief of staff and chief of schools, and what will soon be the future hires as it relates to the future positions. I look forward to identifying and sharing background information relative to our chief of schools and our chief of staff. And I welcome the opportunity for us to broadcast as aggressively and as intentionally as we can that we are seeking a chief equity and social justice officer in addition to a chief academic officer. If time permits, Chair Estevez, I can also do a brief overview of the 2 individuals coming in the current role. At Birmingham City Schools, Mr. Bishop served as the Executive Coordinator for Policy, Governance, and External Affairs, where he managed policy and governance efforts and procedures. And he served as the main liaison with community, city government, key partners, district staff, and other constituents. He provided critical leadership and support to assure the district followed the district plan and the strategic plan and promoted change management and organizational development. His experience includes work in districts in South Carolina. Most significantly to APS is his work as the Equity and Access, Diversity and Inclusion Lead in Charleston, South Carolina. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from Coker University and his MBA, Masters of Business Administration degree from Webster University. He's also earned certifications and fellowships from Cornell, Harvard, and the University of Alabama at Birmingham. Ms. Anita Williams served as the instructional superintendent, and under her leadership, large percentages of schools saw increases on the Alabama school report cards, and the district saw a 10% increase in its college and career readiness scores. Before joining Birmingham City Schools, she served for 7 years as principal of Renaissance High School in Detroit, Michigan. She actually began her career as a school science teacher in Detroit Public Schools Community District, advancing to roles as a curriculum coordinator and assistant principal. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in General Science from Wilberforce University, her master's degree in curriculum and instruction from the University of Detroit, and her education specialist degree in administration and supervision from Wayne State University. I'd like to virtually introduce them. And again, I'd like to thank the board for their actions this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And welcome to Mr. Bishop and Ms. Williams. I think we can move on from there. I'm hearing a little bit of echo. I don't know
I hear your echo.
where I'm hearing that. Yeah. We'll see if it goes away. Moving forward, let's go with discussion on agenda item 9.01, which is the monthly budget adjustment. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved by Michelle Limpiatis, seconded by Cynthia Briscoe Brown. Any discussion? Okay, please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Sandra, I'm a yay. It didn't pop up again.
The vote is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Madam General Counsel, is there a report out from executive session?
Sorry, just trying to take myself off mute. No, there's nothing to report from executive session today.
Great. I knew that. I just wanted to, you got to do something today, Nina.
Make sure I'm paying attention, right?
Yeah. All right, we'll move to agenda item, to our resolutions. Agenda item 11.01, the Equity and Anti-Racism Board Resolution. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
And I second, and it's
been
10.01, and I second that one.
Geez, you're right. 10.01.
It's, yeah, it's listed as 1101, just somebody needs to.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's 11.01. We have 10.01 as a placeholder for a report out of executive session, and there wasn't anything there.
No, but in the agenda online, it does say 10.01.
But on the document itself is, yeah.
It says 11.
Yeah.
01.
We'll need to make that adjustment. But Erica, just to confirm, your motion is to approve 10.01, the Equity and Anti-Racism Board Resolution.
Yes, so moved.
And that was seconded by Candace Wood Jackson.
Correct.
All right. Any discussion?
Well, I guess
we
I
can
could
open-
say something about the
Yes.
equity and anti-racism resolution. Because we are in a very unique space, movement, moment in this arena with equity, anti-racism, standing in solidarity for African Americans, people of color. I think this provides a firm stand as a board on where we are and what our commitments are and how we're going to move forward to lead this work. And it so happened to be that Dr. Herring introducing the new position as Chief of Equity and Social Justice Officer is very unique. And I think it will drive the work that needs to be done in our district. And I was glad to present this. And also other boards across the nation are taking a stand with the equity and anti-racism resolution. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you so much, Erica, for that. Leslie?
Yeah, just this one, I think a little bit, if we're not going to read the resolution into the record here, I think I do want to make sure that we post it where people can get directly to this later on the Facebook page and in other places. It is a very important statement. It's a very important thing for this board to put forth. I hope you will say something more about it, Chair Estevez, but I do want to recognize Board Member Mitchell and her work to bring this forward. I know it's a little bit different version of it, but I really appreciate everyone's participation in this, but I wanted to call you out specifically, Ms. Mitchell, for bringing this forward. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Leslie, for that. I don't know. We can certainly post it on our website and ensure that gets out there, and appreciate Erica's work in getting this done and to the board for passage and approval. Cynthia?
I agree completely with absolutely everything Leslie said, and would like to add that before we do post it, that we clean it up. There appear to be some formatting issues and some typos. Maybe it's just the electronic version, but if we could make it official and professional before we do that, that would be great. But I do think we need to, I'd like to see us give this a prominent place wherever we can.
Okay, I would make sure that every board member please read it so that we can address any typos and formatting issues prior to posting. Anyone else? All right. Open the vote.
Vote is open.
Sandra, I'm a yay.
The vote is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, and then we have 10.02, authorization of the TAN, for the TAN that Lisa Bracken discussed earlier today. Although it may not be necessary if we are able to get tax bills out on time, it may require us, if there is delay, it may require us to take out a TAN as a school system, which would be the 4th year in a row, but hopefully we can avoid that this year. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved by Michelle Olympiadis, seconded by Erica Mitchell. Any discussion? Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Sandra, I'm good.
The vote is, hold on. Okay, the vote is closed. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. We will now have a report out from board committees. Let's start with audit.
Nothing to report. We have not had a meeting between our last two meetings. And I need to check the date, but we'll clearly post that when our next meeting is.
Okay. Board development.
We
Cynthia?
had a full day board retreat last week. Last Tuesday, the first half, we spent with H.A. Craybill of the Council of Great City Schools with some introductory work and orientation to the student outcomes focused governance model, and look forward to discussing continuing that work with him in the future. And then in the afternoon, we worked with Dr. Sam King of the Georgia School Boards Association on and in a guided discussion of our board norms. The Board Development Committee will be meeting on August 20th to revise the board norms in accordance with what we discussed at the retreat, and we look forward to presenting those to the board at the next opportunity.
Thank you. Budget, Michelle?
The budget committee is not met since we've approved the school year's budget. So today's presentation really updated where we are with the budget. And unfortunately, as we just voted, we are anticipating the use of a TAN again this year due to how the tax assessor's office has been managing the collection of property taxes. It's really unfortunate.
Fingers crossed that we don't have to use another one.
With you, whatever money we can save,
Yeah.
we can always use for education.
All right. And then policy, Candace?
Yes, we met on June 25th, discussed a very timely matter. The fruit of some of that labor was voted upon this evening with the revised student dress code, revised to require PPE as necessary, and the controversial issues policy, which also we voted on this evening, which was unintentionally timely. And we also had a visit by Chief Ron Applin to tell us about the Office of Safety and Security at that June 25th meeting, mostly as a timely then and now reminder about what we're doing in our schools from a policing standpoint. We will meet again on August 20th to pick up more of our great work.
Thank you so much. Anyone else for the good of the order? All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Do we need a report out from the community meeting?
No.
Okay, then I move we adjourn.
Well, I don't think we've had the report out of the committee meeting in a long time.
Second.
I thought I saw it on the agenda. Maybe I didn't. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Cynthia Briscoe Brown has moved to close the meeting, seconded
Second.
by Aretta Balden. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Have a great night.
Y'all
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you
Good
all.
evening.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.